everybody. Welcome back to What the Film, a movie podcast. I'm your host, Logan Thompson. I was just like, a movie podcast.
You've never called it a movie podcast before.
I know. I thought that was, I mean,
It's called What the Film. What else is it going to be?
A film podcast?
Sure. I'm Ethan Kaufman. Hey, hi, hello.
Is there a distinction between film and movie?
Different words?
One sounds more fancy than the other.
You're more pretentious if you use film.
Yeah. There you go. So I guess this podcast is pretentious.
Nah, we can change it to What the Movie.
Yeah, but then that's just like what's an M word that replaces the F word?
What the muffin? I don't know.
What the muffin? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, today we are doing stuff, as you can see in the title. We are doing our Midway Movie Awards. So It's the middle of the year, as you might know, because, you look at the calendar, possibly. What Ethan and I are going to do is that I have 3 of my own awards that I came up with just for me. Ethan has 2 that he came up with for him. And then we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 awards
Numbers,
that we
12.
will both be giving out to films. So
That's actually
time.
perfect, because up until recently there were 24 Oscar categories. So this is the half Oscars.
Yeah, this is the half Oscars.
Perfect.
Except technically I'm giving 15 and you're giving 14, but hey, who's counting?
No one looks at the little details.
Exactly. Anyways, my first fun award that I came up with just for me, it's kind of you could have easily come up with one of these for yourself too. Mm-hmm. This is the most rewatchable movie.
Okay.
I could have picked one of my top movies, but I kind of realized that actually there's one movie that I think is more rewatchable than any of those movies.
Oh?
The Beekeeper.
Ah, let's go!
It was a battle between this and Hitman.
Okay.
But I kind of realized last minute just that The Beekeeper is so turn your brain off level of like a film where I feel like rewatchable is like, yes, a good movie, but also a film that you don't need to think a lot about.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of the best movies this year, like a Challengers, a Dune Part 2, Taste of Things, Hitman, like I said, like you kind of have to think about it a bit more. But I think the great thing about The Beekeeper is that it's well made, it's fun, and you don't have to think, because
you don't at all.
It's a bit of a brain dead movie.
Well, I will say Josh Hutcherson as the president, like that whole bit. I mean, that's a little wild. Like you might have to think about that just to process the insanity.
But if you've already seen it,
it's true.
Then you've already processed the insanity.
It's true.
But I'd say that you
spoiled for you on a podcast, like you may just have.
Yeah. Sorry.
Whoops.
Oh well.
All
right. Well, what's your
right? I mean, well, just to say for yours, I mean, I've seen Challengers 6 times, so we know what mine would be there. But that's your fun award. So let's get on to my first fun award, which is the second best Dune movie of the year, because we all know Dune 2 is the Dune movie of the year. There is no better Dune movie of the year than Dune Part 2. Uh-huh. But I want to shed light on the second best Dune movie of the year, which is Metal Storm, the in-movie from The Fall Guy, which Emily Blunt's character is directing, and Ryan Gosling's character is the stuntman of, and where Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing Matthew McConaughey as Paul Atreides.
Wait. But that's not Metal Storm.
It is.
No?
Remember is Metal Storm the other movie? I'm so confused. You lost me. This was supposed to be fun.
Metal Storm. This is false. It was Aaron Taylor Johnson, but then he got canceled. So they recast
Jason Momoa.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I'm sorry. Jason Momoa. Sorry, forgot.
And then Jason Momoa just plays Jason Momoa.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, initially it was Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I know, but he got canceled.
We don't care about that. We don't endorse cancel culture on here, Logan. Come on.
Well, we've never talked about cancel culture on here before.
Okay, all right.
So he tried killing Ryan Gosling.
Spoilers.
That's cancelable.
Spoilers. I could cancel you for now spoiling two movies in 2 awards.
Yeah, warning. We're going to be spoiling movies.
Okay, what's your next fun one? Be warned.
The ultimate animal movie. A lot of contenders this year, like Madam Web, The Beekeeper.
A lot of monkey movies.
A lot of monkey movies, but I gave this one to Hundreds of Beavers.
All right, yeah.
I needed an award dedicated to Hundreds of Beavers because it's Hundreds of Beavers, and this seemed like the right one to do it. Yeah, it's Hundreds of Beavers. If you haven't heard about this movie, watch the trailer online. Words cannot describe this film and do it justice. Just go and visualize it for yourself.
I mean, I'm sure words can, but they're like words that you wouldn't find like at your typical Five and Dime. You'd have to look for those words. It's not your typical movie.
I'd say you'd have to Urban Dictionary some made up words to really be able to describe this movie.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What?
It sounds like Vibes.
It is Vibes. It's a Vibes movie. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Right. What's your next one?
I'm so upset I still haven't seen it. I need to get there.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do.
I was gonna wait until we got into the legitimate categories, but my little disclaimer, I have only seen 21 movies this year. You have seen way more than me. And on top of that, we have my fun little stat, which is that halfway through last year, I had only seen 6 of my top 20 of the year. Most of my favorite movies are at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that much.
But this year does feel a little more front-loaded than last year. A little bit.
Maybe.
I'd say that 2 of the best movies of the year have possibly already come out.
The only 2 movies I'm going to be talking about extensively.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, maybe even the 3 best movies of the year.
Yeah. All right. My next and I guess last fun one is the best movie MacGuffin of the year. For those uneducated folks, a MacGuffin is essentially a thing in a movie that doesn't really matter what it is just kind of used to advance the plot of like a thing that characters need to get to do a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And for me, there was really only one option here. It is the Matt Damon dildo mold in Drive Away Dolls.
That's beautiful.
What else was it going to go to?
I wish I thought of more non-movie specific awards that were about parts of movies.
Yes.
But I'm glad that you did.
But yes, for me now to spoil a movie, the whole plot of Drive Away Dolls revolves around everyone finding a Matt Damon dildo.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Future Oscar winner Coleman Domingo, he wants it. Everyone's looking for it.
Yeah. Everybody wants that Matt Damon doll.
This is going to turn into a very different conversation once we get into actual legitimate awards, but now...
Well, let's shift things to something that's a little different.
Okay.
This is my wait. That movie came out this year award for The Book of Clarence. I was so excited for this movie and then completely forgot about it after watching it. So,
nice.
Yeah, I had to. I just needed to give it that recognition.
I remember seeing the trailer like 3 times.
Yeah,
that's all.
I loved The Harder They Fall, and I love Lakeith Stanfield. So I was just really excited, and then it was mediocre.
Was he good in it? Because I love him.
Yeah, Lakeith was good. Lakeith, it's always good.
He always brings it. Yeah,
but the script was pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the directing tried to compensate for the bad script, but just didn't compensate enough.
Dang.
Anyways, I don't need to keep talking about The Book of Clarence. Let's get into best bee-themed action flick. I think we should do a countdown.
No,
we should have done a countdown.
Oscar that.
Yeah, it is. The Beekeeper. I wrote "duh" next to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we already talked about The Beekeeper, so I think we can move on. Least necessary picture. Would you like to go first?
Okay, so my least necessary picture of the year is currently number 21 out of 21 on my Letterboxd ranking because I, unlike you, do not force myself to see anything that I don't want to. And that is the Mean Girls musical / remake thing.
I like this movie.
It's fine. It's okay. Look, I could have gone with If, but If at least felt like there was some idea behind it, like there was a piece of originality, however small. Mean Girls is just like, why?
Yeah.
Nobody asked for this. I don't know. Was it bad? Not fully. I enjoyed parts of it, but like when it comes down to least necessary movies of the year, this had to win out.
That's
What you
fair.
got? What do you got?
For me, this is 74 out of 75 on my list. It's not even
Okay.
my bottom one. Because I think some bottom movies, like they're kind of memeable.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of necessity for them. You know, you need the memeable movies. But
Right.
what you don't need is Rebel Moon Part 2.
That's true.
Especially given that there is probably two better cuts of Rebel Moon Parts 1 and 2 that are going to be coming out on Netflix later this year that maybe should have just been released as the regular cuts in the first place. Because there
Yeah.
where Zack Snyder gets a little bit more unhinged, and there's blood, and there's the rated R stuff that Zack loves. But for whatever reason, it wasn't in the regular parts.
Did they not realize that if there's a Snyder cut out there, it will come out sooner or later?
Well, the thing is that was the whole idea.
Or is that the whole
It was
point?
like sort of a staged Snyder cut.
Okay.
Which is why it's like you can't artificially make the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
The Snyder cut happened sort of out of tragedy.
Yes.
His daughter died.
Yes.
And then he stepped away from Justice League, and then they kept him out of Justice League, and then everybody was like, hey, that's messed up. One, he's a director with an interesting vision, and two, his daughter died and you're kicking him out. We don't like that. Let him release his cut because he deserves it after going through that tragedy, but also out of just being an interesting director. And then he got that. But you cannot artificially make that. And I'm surprised that Zack signed up for that.
Yes.
With that context.
I mean, I guess it's just him doing what he did last time that everybody was down for him to do, just without the emotional trauma and like bad stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Did nobody at Netflix go like, hey, maybe we can't artificially replicate that?
They don't think about that down there.
Yeah, well, because they just have an algorithm that tells them what to do, and then they're all like a bunch of drones.
Yeah, I maybe now agree with the pick now that I'm more aware of the background of like multiple cuts of the movies. I would have originally fought you on this because like it's called Part 2. I think the first one was called Part 1, right?
Yeah.
You can't argue its least necessary picture if the first one was called Part 1 and this is the follow-up.
But I feel like Rebel Moon Part 1 would have been so much more funnier and iconic if it just never got a Part 2.
That's okay. Like it was like a dark universe type thing where it was always supposed to, but it just never happened.
Yeah, or like what about that? Like remember that movie, the third movie in the Divergent trilogy, and it never got its fourth movie?
Yeah.
Like that. It would have been kind of more like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Just funny.
Vibes.
Vibes. All right. Next award is Weirdest Casting.
Weirdest Casting.
I have a tie.
I had a tie, and then I narrowed it to one. Let's have you go first.
Okay. I have a tie. They're all in the same movie.
Okay.
So that's why I thought that this tie was okay to have.
All right.
This is Adam Scott. Do you know what movie this is coming from?
I know the movie. Yeah.
Tahar Rahim and Dakota Johnson, all from Madam Web. Yeah. It's weird. Not only the press tour with Dakota Johnson. I mean, I think Dakota Johnson is really the winner here.
Yeah.
And I just thought Tahar Rahim, because every line in this movie is ADR from him. It's just like, why cast someone at all? Yeah. And then Adam Scott was just weird.
He's just there.
He was just kind of there, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but like I've watched videos about it extensively. I did watch a 20-minute video essay about Dakota Johnson on the press tour of Madam Web. Like that was the whole video.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Yeah.
And it's, her press tour was bad, which I think is also the weirdest casting bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to go into it more because it's it's not great.
Yeah.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I also kind of had a tie. They are from two different movies, but one is a cameo and then one is like just a supporting role.
What's
I'm
the
just going to talk
cameo?
about the cameo is Miley Cyrus in Drive Away Dolls.
Oh, really? I loved that though. I loved the cameo.
I loved it, but it was just random.
Yeah.
Like Maggot Brain by Funkadelic is playing, and it's like these weird trippy drug sequences, and like,
yeah, but it was perfect.
Why? No, it was perfect, but like also why? Like good why, but why?
Yeah, good weird casting.
Yeah, and then this other one I don't really know if it counts because it like this same casting was in the original movie, and so it's just a carryover into a sequel. But I just want to include it and talk about it for 10 seconds anyway. And then is Kyle MacLachlan as the dad in Inside Out 2. There's no reason that Kyle MacLachlan needs to be in a Pixar movie as Riley's dad, and yet he is, and it's just a choice. And I have no opinions on it. It's just a choice.
It's just a choice.
It's one of the choices that has been made in Hollywood, in the movies. I got nothing to say about it.
I also have nothing to say about it. Moving on. What's your steamiest scene?
My steamiest scene of the year was always going to be from Challengers. It was just about picking which scene. And I thought the three-way kiss was too obvious a pick. So I went with the next best option, which is Art and Patrick eat a churro.
Ooh, okay. So
they eat a churro.
Yeah.
And they
do.
They eat that churro.
Like they really do.
They eat that churro.
Yeah.
They certainly do.
I also went with the Challenger scene. I was worried that we would have went with the same one. But first, I do want to shout out one scene that I did really consider from a different movie that I wasn't expecting to consider a scene from. Tom Hardy asking Austin Butler to lead the biker gang in Bike Riders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I was kind of expecting a kiss.
A little bit.
I was really expecting. They got really close.
Yeah.
Real close in that scene.
I'm really happy the scene you weren't gonna mention there was the Austin Butler Stellan Skarsgård kiss in Dune 2. That would have been a choice here. Because that is someone's steamiest scene of the year. I don't know who, but they're out there.
I mean, Dune does also have some really steamy scenes though. Austin Butler and Lea Seydoux, that's very steamy right there. Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, they have a few steamy scenes.
The hard cut to like them after.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah, but my real steamiest scene is of course from Challengers like you. The sauna.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Patrick and Art. I mean, it's literally steamy. It's a sauna. But just the tension, the nakedness.
Can I just put your dick away?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. And then also the flashback it cuts to.
Yeah. The affair.
Yeah. So I think all of that makes it a pretty steamy scene. If I do say so.
You could have put any scene from Challengers though.
Oh yeah, literally any scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, is there one scene from Challengers that you couldn't put?
I don't think so.
Maybe the scene where Art is cuddling with the daughter.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's a scene that I think would be a little odd if you considered it steamy. I think that scene would be even odder as a steamy scene.
Zendaya cries that her tennis career is over. That'd be a weird pick here.
Yeah. But I'd say a good 50% of these scenes.
We need to rank every scene of Challengers based on how steamy it is and see what the bottom ones are.
I would do that.
Actually, the scene where Patrick is like signing into the tournament and like the line judge is there and like they're like the way he looks at the Dunkin' Donuts, I feel like is very not steamy.
Really? I would consider that steamy. I'd say that there's a steaminess in the lust for food.
I think maybe there was the first time I watched it, but after that when it was like very obligatory product placement and I couldn't not think about it being Dunkin' Donuts product placement, I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay. All right. I had more thoughts, but we should move on because it's a Dunkin' Donuts argument. Biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise.
Mine is I'm assuming that you're going to go with the one I'm going to go with at my number 1. So I'm going to go with my number 2.
Okay.
That being Inside Out 2.
Nice. Okay.
It just like, I expected it to be okay. I didn't think it would be bad, but it's a really good movie. To me, that's enough of a surprise.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to say, let's hear you say The First Omen?
It's not The First Omen.
Oh, that was what I was going to go with, and I assumed you'd take it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, there will be space to talk about that later, I'm sure. But
yeah.
The reason I didn't pick it, because I definitely could have, is one, we talked about it last week.
Didn't
bring it up again.
Yeah.
Also, I went so long not having seen it that I heard enough good buzz that by the time I did see it, I think if it was on the level that maybe I thought it was going to be when it came out, like, I don't know. I expected it to be better because I had time to hear more good things about it.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense, which is also maybe why I didn't pick Inside Out 2, which I was kind of low on, but then good reviews came out and then I saw it. Here, I still had no expectations for it, really, by the time I went to see it, despite having time to hear good things. That's Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Okay.
That's here. Yeah.
That's valid.
You convinced me to watch it after several weeks. I had never seen a Bad Boys movie before. I'm kind of against the idea of a Will Smith comeback. There were many things working against it, and yet I had so much fun with this. And it was I saw this way earlier in the morning than I ever go to the movies, at a theater that was kind of out of the way. And it was a crowd of a lot of old people who did not seem too into it. I had a great time with this.
Yep, that was my experience with The Beekeeper.
Yeah, when they do the weird POV shots with the guns in the third act, that's some Challenger stuff right there. Yeah. I ate that up.
It was awesome.
Eric Dane is the heavy, who's just aggressively evil for no reason. He's so much fun. I loved him.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on, I guess, to the next award.
Yes.
We got Best Scene.
My nominees for Best Scene, only doing one scene per movie, because everything would be from 2 movies if we didn't do that. I didn't realize I was going to have to randomize this. I now need to not read them in the order that they are. We've got, you'll notice a trend here, the amazing 10-minute action scene on the rig in Furiosa, right in the middle of the movie. That whole sequence, crazy.
I don't have that one.
We have the fight on Getty Prime in Dune 2, the black and white infrared Austin Butler.
Ooh, okay.
10-minute
really
action sequence in the middle of the movie. Love that. We have the whole first major action beat of Monkey Man, the one in the bathroom, and then it's through the street. Just
you like that one? Do you like that one better with the shaky cam than the more stable? Really? Okay.
It was because it was the first. It spends 30 minutes ramping up to it, and it was such a departure from because the whole action climax is also great, but I think it's much more John Wicky in the approach. This was its own thing. I was fair. Whoa, this is doing something I haven't seen. So another really great action beat in the middle of a movie. I swear we're getting away from that. We have the last 10 minutes of Challengers match point. Of course, gotta have that here.
Yep.
And then we have Maddie's monologue in the planetarium in the school gym from I Saw the TV Glow, which is crazy good and exactly what the movie is in one scene. Yeah.
All right. For me, I got match point from Challengers, like you. Of course.
Yep.
I have the interrogation scene in Hitman, where Glenn Powell has the texts on his phone.
Yes.
Love that scene.
Very close to including that.
I have the opening scene of The Taste of Things.
Vibes.
Just the 20 minutes of pure cooking. I have the possession scene in The First Omen, where she's walking up to the church and all of that stuff happens. Just that is really where that performance stands out to me. And I was like, wow. Because I've talked about The First Omen a few times on this podcast, but that was the scene where it hit me and I was like, this movie is really good.
It is.
And then finally I have May Thy Knife Chip and Shatter from Dune, but just because like after all the huge action that we'd been seeing,
it's
the
very
transition
small
to
scale.
smaller fight that yet was like so much more intense, I thought was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your winner?
By the way, honorable mentions to
Oh
like the sandworm scene from Dune 2 and like
yeah,
the speech from Dune 2 and also every scene
yeah.
from Challengers. My
I'd
winner
say
is
any
match
scene
point
from
from
Dune 2 or
Challengers.
Challengers.
My winner is the end of Challengers. It's got to be.
That's
It's
fair.
not it's not even close.
That's my number 2. I have an order to it, so I can.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my number 2. My number 1 is the opening scene of The Taste of Things.
All right.
Just the cooking. I've never seen a movie capture food that way.
I'm a picky eater, but I want to eat the food.
Exactly. Like it made me want to eat a stingray. You know, I don't know if that was in the opening scene, or if that was in a different scene. I think it was in the opening. But anyways, moving on.
Yes, for our listeners, by the way, I want to say I did not include any movies that were technically 2023 releases that were not released until 2024. Logan did. That's why I don't talk about The Taste of Things when it's like good movie, yippee yay.
Yeah. For me, I think we just both kind of have different sort of ideologies in the sense where Ethan's like, that came out in 2023, but I was like, yes, technically it came out in 2023, but it came out so late and was distributed in a way that wasn't successful at the Oscars. So I feel like not enough people were talking about it. So I want to talk about it to give it the attention that it deserves, which is why I'm doing this.
But by that metric, Sing Sing and Dee Dee shouldn't have been eligible for our July auction, and yet they were. So I'm sensing hypocrisy. We're not gonna talk about it. We're gonna move on.
I didn't realize that they weren't getting wide releases in July. Okay. All right. Anywho, let's shift over to most technically impressive.
Yes.
Most technically impressive. We each got 3 nominees here. I will name off first. My nominees are Challengers, Dune 2, and Hundreds of Beavers.
Vibes.
What are yours?
I might have included Hundreds of Beavers if I had seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
My 3 here, I have Challengers, I have Furiosa, I have Dune 2.
Okay. And winning for me, I have Hundreds of Beavers.
Do you?
I do. I mean,
choice. You
could say it's Dune 2. I mean, I think that's I'm going to guess that you're picking Dune 2.
I'm basic, it's Dune 2.
Yeah. I'm picking Hundreds of Beavers because of the low budget. I'm picking it just because, you're not expecting as much. And I think on an individual award basis, Dune 2 beats Hundreds of Beavers in every single individual technical award.
Yes.
It's not even close. But I think just as a complete package, there's just something really impressive about Hundreds of Beavers that you need to see to believe. Applejack. That's all I'm going to say. Applejack.
I have no idea what that means, but I'll watch the movie.
Do you have any thoughts from Dune 2 that you'd like to add?
I mean, nothing that hasn't been said a billion times, but like it's gonna win most of the major technical awards at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Don't think I need to say more than that. It's like, you've seen it. It's Dune 2. You know why I picked it. That's all. Yeah.
That is all. All right, well, moving on to Best Supporting Performance. Ethan, take away your nominees.
My nominees for Best Supporting Performance, I have Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa. I have Austin Butler in Dune Part 2. And I have Josh O'Connor in Challengers.
We don't have most of the same nominees. Which
really?
Is nice. Yeah.
I thought we'd have at least like 1 or 2.
Oh, we do have 1.
Okay.
But only 1.
I know which one it is.
Yeah. So for me, I got Emily Stone from Kinds of Kindness, Josh O'Connor from Challengers, and Juliette Binoche from Taste of Things.
See, she would have been here, but I don't count it.
There you go. Yeah. that's something that we're going to encounter a few times.
Yeah, it's okay. We get to talk about more movies this way.
Yes, we do.
Actually, we don't, because I just keep talking about the same 3 movies.
True. What's your winner?
My winner is Chris Hemsworth.
Huh?
Yeah, I shocked you. Yeah.
I was about to say, should we 3, 2, 1 it?
No, because I knew we didn't have the same. No, the only reason I did pick him, and I don't even know if he's my honest pick, I just, in the spirit of this being the Midway Movie Awards, I do want to get to talk more about the ones that I'm not going to be talking about at any other point throughout the year.
That's fair.
And in thinking about it, I was like I could talk about Josh O'Connor, but I've already talked about him a lot, and like I'll keep doing that all year. Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa is unbelievable and is doing something that is so out of his own wheelhouse. I've never seen him like this. Nobody has. He's insane. He is chewing up the scenery left and right. And in a way that Charlize Theron did in Fury Road, he steals the movie. And it's his movie. And he's amazing. And like you have Anya Taylor-Joy as Furiosa, which is amazing casting already. And like she has a lot to do. Like it is her movie. And yet still, he is easily the standout. I think the best aspect of the whole thing. And he's wild. I love him. More of this from everyone in Hollywood, please.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm basic. I'm Josh O'Connor.
Yeah,
he's great.
You're right, though. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say anymore. He's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's him or Mike Fist, and in the spirit of us limiting it to one nominee per movie, Josh O'Connor wins out.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's talk about best lead performance. I nominated Benoit Magimel from Taste of Things, Mia McKenna-Bruce from How to Have Sex, and Zendaya from Challengers.
Vibes.
Big vibes.
I didn't allow myself to include two of them.
You did not.
And I did include the third. Yes. My nominees, I have Zendaya in Challengers, I have Jesse Plemons in Kinds of Kindness, I have Glenn Powell in Hitman.
See, I think it would be Plemons and Glenn Powell in here if I didn't allow myself to include Magimel or Bruce. So yeah.
All
right. My winner is...
Your winner.
Is this a 3-2-1?
I don't think so. I don't like doing the 3-2-1s. We're always wrong about it. And it's always just awkward and we step on each other's awards.
Well, it's Zendaya.
Yeah, okay, mine too.
Oh, well then it's obviously a 3-2.
I didn't know for sure.
How didn't you? Because if you knew it was... I
don't know. I want to be safe.
If I ask if it's a 3-2-1, that means that has to be one that we have in common.
Yes, and but that's I didn't think I'm being dumb right now. Just talk about her.
I mean, she's amazing. Just in the entire film, she's fantastic in just an absolute, like, I don't want to say badass, but she's a badass.
Yeah.
And just every scene with her is so captivating. She holds so much power, even when it seems like she shouldn't be holding so much power. It's great. I don't even... It's hard to describe these performances in this film just because they're so out of this world to me.
Yeah.
And so easy pick.
Yeah. This is maybe stepping on her shoes a little bit because it does apply to all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like the movie does not work without her. You need someone of that presence throughout the movie that is like completely dominating the screen, even when she's not in the scene. We're just like the fact that she exists is what is influencing everything that the characters are doing.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been very easy for the performance not to work, where we're just like, oh, that's Zendaya. And like she just kind of pulls you out of it, and that is not at all what happens, and the movie is better for it. She is able to somehow find a balance of being like this loud, aggressive, manipulative girl boss character, but also does have those quieter moments when she is just like with one character, or that scene like by the tree with the knee. And I think it all works, and it has to, because the whole love triangle aspect of the movie, she's the center of, and you need it to work, but she does it. She came to play, and she somehow disappears into a role, which like she's Zendaya. She shouldn't be able to do that, but she does. And it's awesome.
And I'd say that of the two movies that she's been in this year, she definitely disappears more into this one than in Dune 2. Like Dune 2, I still saw her as Zendaya.
A little bit.
But here I saw her as Tashi.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't blame that on Dune 2. I'd just blame that on it having such a massive ensemble. Right. But still. Anyways, let's talk about best screenplay.
Let's do it.
Who do you got?
What do I got? I saw the TV Glow, Challengers, Dune 2. Oh, yeah.
I got Andrew Haig for All of Us Strangers, Justin Kuritzky's for Challengers, and Richard Linklater and Glenn Powell for Hitman.
Yes.
Who do you have winning?
Justin Kuritzky's.
Me too.
You have to.
Yeah, you kind of do. All right, you
can
speak for the both of us.
This is the most boring game ever. I'm just picking Challengers.
Yeah, we're both picking Challengers for everything.
Yeah. By the way, All of Us Strangers would have been here if I was including it, but I'm not. Haha.
Yeah,
more love for I Saw the TV Glow, which like you just haven't mentioned at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little colder on I Saw the TV Glow than I was hoping to be.
You know what? Challengers. Screenplay of the year, screenplay of the decade, screenplay of ever. It's not, but like I'm gonna say it is. I again have watched this movie 6 times in theaters. I need to find the words. It's just very good. I struggle to find the words. The level of quality that a screenplay has to be at to captivate me 6 times in its initial theatrical run, already crazy. But the fact that the movies that I have seen in theaters the most are something like Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer, Parasite, that have all of these moving parts, very like kind of maximalist, some with their style, some with their story. There is so much going on in all of those movies. This is just 3 people and their dynamic over time.
Yeah.
And it sustains it the whole time. And the way that it volleys back and forth between 3 different timelines in like a Dunkirky kind of way is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it balances the characters where you never feel like you're not getting enough of somebody, and everyone feels equally complex, and you love all 3 of them, and you hate all 3 of them, and you understand exactly what they are doing, what like why they're doing what they're doing at all times, whether or not you agree with it. And it just like, because I know initially Justin Kuritzky's basically set out to make fan fiction of tennis, where like he said he'd be watching tennis knowing nothing about the players, and like the game is the game, great, but having context would make it more exciting. And this was sort of his attempt to just kind of maybe get insight into what a tennis match might hold stakes wise. And it's amazing. And even on 6th watch, like you go in at the start when they are already at the final in New Rochelle, you know nothing about anybody. And it's a completely clean slate. And then you get to the end and they're still there. And it feels like it's the world ending if they lose. It's crazy. The amount of just depth and development of each of these 3 characters and the way they're balanced, their dialogue, their dynamic, their romance, their like frenemy stuff, whatever. It's amazing. I love it. Talk about it.
It is. You pretty much said everything that I would have said. You know, I don't think there's any more I can really add. It's an amazing screenplay, and the level of depth in all 3 of these characters is insane. Yeah, like it's just great. If you haven't seen Challengers already, like why are you even here? Because we love Challengers over here.
We do.
Except when I have my Best Director nominations, where they are Denis Villeneuve, Mike Cheslick for Hundreds of Beavers, and Tran On Hun for Taste of Things. Missing one big director here.
Yeah, so. You are.
Yeah.
I'm not forgiving you here. My nominees for director, I have Luca Guadagnino for Challengers, I have Denis Villeneuve for Dune 2, and I have Jane Schoenbrunn for I Saw the TV Glow.
There you go. All right. Well, I have winning Denis Villeneuve.
Let's go!
Like, yeah, this is the best directed movie of the year. Challengers is close. Taste of Things is close. Hundreds of Beavers is close. But it's just Dune 2 is massive in its scale and just it's everything. And the way it just ramps up so like well from part 1. And also, you know, maybe this is a bit of a screenplay thing, but the way it learned from the criticism in part 1, the added humor, the added action, just this film is more engaging than part 1. I think it genuinely took notes from the critics, which I think is really nice. And I had to give credit there somewhere. I mean, every scene in this film just looks out of this world. I mean, it is out of this world. It's on Arrakis, but still, yeah. You talk about who your winner is.
Yeah, it's Villeneuve. It's gotta be.
Like, I thought it was going to be Guadagnino.
Nah.
Yeah.
The direction of Dune, because that's also the thing, is I come away from Challengers with the screenplay, and I come away from Dune with the directing, I think.
Yeah, me too.
The opening sequence where it's like thick oranges and black. How do you come up, like, how do you decide that is what the scene is going to look like? You have enough confidence in that vision to shoot it that way, and then you play around with it in the editing and the effects, and it comes out amazing.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a great opening too, because
it is
like no other scene in either of the films looks like that.
No, yeah.
And who cares?
I think like the fact that it does outdo the first one, and that it has the freedom to still play around. Like I mentioned, the fight scene halfway through with Austin Butler, the way they shot that with like all this infrared technology to make it just extra eerie, and like the blacks and the whites stand out much more. Like, yes, it's a part 2, but it is also its own thing, and it's just kind of leveling up everything that part 1 did. And also, this is maybe backtracking a little bit because maybe it counts more for the first one than the second one, but I do think they go hand in hand. It's a part 2 to a part 1.
Yeah.
One of the ballsiest moves from a director that I can think of is him doing Dune this way, is doing it in 2 parts. Because there was no guarantee after part 1 that part 2 was going to get greenlit. It was getting released in 2021 when movies were not doing well. It was released on HBO Max the same day, which was going to take away from its box office. It's a big nerdy adaptation. There's no guarantee it's going to do well.
Yeah.
And he, as a director, realized he had to do it this way for the story to be presented the way it had to be. And him making that decision is ultimately what allowed Dune 2 to stand out from other movies, but also the first one the way it does. And that is why he is my pick here. I think outside of the movie itself, he grew up wanting to adapt this book, and he knew exactly how it had to be done, and he did it in a way that pays respect to the source material in ways that past adaptations did not do, because he understands it that well. He's got to be my pick.
Yeah, he's a great pick. All right, well, our final award is here. This is Best Picture.
It is.
Ethan, take it away with your nominees.
My nominees are Dune Part 2, Furiosa, and Challengers.
And mine are Dune Part 2, Challengers, and A Taste of Things.
Okay. Furiosa would be substituted for All of Us Strangers if I was doing what you've been doing, but I'm not, so that's that.
If I was doing what you've been doing, Furiosa would be substituted for The Taste of Things. So look at that.
All right.
Well, I think we can 3-2-1 this.
We can 3-2-1 this.
3, 2, 1. Challengers.
Ayo, ayo, ayo.
I don't even think we should talk too much more about this movie because we've talked so much about it, but it's great. Go see it.
It is. Do it.
All right. Well, I'm exhausted.
I am too. It's 11:34.
Yeah. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I have to edit.
You do. I'm so sorry.
Do you see the how happy I am? Don't I look
You're
so
smiling.
Happy?
You're smiling. You're so happy.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm smiling too. This is joyful.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yay!
Oh my god.
Ooh.
This is what happens when you have a job but then do this and spend enough time on this for it to also be a job. So then you're kind of doing 2 jobs.
Bye.